Hello, amazing women. And this week I want to talk to you about autumn or fall colour palettes that you might have got in your wardrobe, and just talk to you a little bit about how you can maybe incorporate more colour into your wardrobe. And what I'm thinking of specifically is that it's so easy just to go from summer to winter, really, but autumn is the season in between. And that is not a season when you should be huddled up in black skirt, black jacket, black tights, black jumper, black bag, black coat, black everything. But actually, I do really believe that autumn has these gorgeous colours that we should be wearing and that actually are really good for us. And I also think, I don't know if there's any scientific proof around it. I'm sure there isn't, but I might go off and do a little bit of research. But these colours, I'm going to talk about this in a little bit in the podcast, but this time of year, the light is very warm, very orange and warm yellow, certainly in the northern hemisphere, because obviously we're going into winter, southern hemisphere is going into summer. But it is a very warm light. And I wonder whether by wearing clothes that reflect that light and sort of embrace that warmth, if you like, that actually I think that we might do our bodies and our souls and our spirits a lot of good by wearing those colours. But I know that sometimes it's easier said than done, and that we have a mishmash of clothes in our wardrobe. And so the purpose of this podcast episode is to help you differentiate between the different kinds of colours that you can wear for autumn, and give you a couple of styling tips for how you can incorporate them on a daily basis into your wardrobe. So if you're ready, let's get started. This is the Stylish Wellness Podcast with me, Sarah Banks. So in terms of incorporating colour into your wardrobe, I've divided the colours for the purposes of this podcast up into two sections. And the first one is earthy tones and the second one is bright jewel colours. So let's have a look at the earthy tones first. By earthy tones, I mean colours like terracotta, burnt sienna, ochre, olive greens. Those are all very romantic ways of saying the browns, the greens and the yellows. And these colours, as I've just alluded to, they mirror the natural autumnal environment. So if you think of like a New England fall and the colours of the leaves on the trees then, or wherever you are in the world where the trees are deciduous rather than evergreen, and the colours that they turn, those leaves, before they fall off the trees, it's absolutely extraordinary. I mean, I picked a leaf up the other day and it was just this incredible yellow colour, just so warm and impossible to replicate really outside of nature. I mean, you know, artists' tools and colours and paints, they do such an amazing job of imitating these colours, but really these colours in nature, they are so amazing. So the earthy tones, this is what I'm talking about. And I don't know how many of the earthy tones you've got in your wardrobe, but if we're talking in terms of styling tips and balancing earthy tones in your wardrobe and wearing them on a day-to-day basis in autumn, then I think what you really want to be looking for is to have one item that is in a sort of statementy earthy tone. So what you really want to avoid looking like is a very sort of drab version of brown or a drab version of green, just by just wearing, say, all brown or all green and not focusing on the colour or the fabric or the style. So if you chose, say, an olive green coat and then you paired that with, say, beige trousers and maybe a terracotta sweater, or even a black midi skirt with a very neutral colour jumper. I'm not keen on black at this time of year, which we'll talk about in a second, but an olive green coat with a black midi skirt and then a cream silk blouse or a cream jumper of some description would look amazing. what you're doing there is you're focusing on the olive green, and that's the color that's going to be most noticeable because it's probably the primary item that you're wearing, and the black will pale into the background, and then the cream top, that's just like a neutral color, so it's not going to stand out in the same way. I would definitely pick one main colour and then one colour to pair it with. You don't want to end up with 3 or 4 colours all over the place. To make it very easy and very stylish, you can go with the example that I've just listed. For example, an olive green coat or a coat in your autumnal choice, and then style it with the easier colours, the beige, the brown, and even the black. So, a word about black. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think it's the best colour for autumn because the light is wrong. The light at this time of year is warm and orange, and black is better with those bluer lights that you get in winter time. So if you can avoid too much black right now, I think you'll be on point. But we've all got black in our wardrobe, or at least most of us have, and it is a really easy colour to wear. So you're probably not going to be able to get rid of it entirely. You might be able to, but I will allow you some black, but just bear in mind that at this time of year, I think that you might be better in the autumnal colours and save the black for in a few months' time when you've got all of December to ramp up with January and February to follow, and you can wear black to your heart's content. Of course, these earthy tones are very good for day-to-day wear. They're easy to wear, they're very practical to wear, and if you're anything like me, you don't feel that you need to be on your best behaviour or feel really well dressed. They're very practical colours, and you can pair them. They're very day colours, aren't they? You know that you can pair them with like a brown skirt. You can pair with black loafers or boots, and they're very easy to incorporate into your day-to-day wear. But that is not to say that you can't wear these colours for best, in inverted commas. So it's not to say that you can't wear these colours to go out in the evening. I think if you are going to wear these colours to go out in the evening, then a couple of things are key. I think that the fabric that you wear is going to be key. So try and look for those gorgeous proper wool fabrics, and you make sure that your knitwear is good quality wool rather than poor quality fabric. Actually, I was listening to this podcast the other day. It wasn't a fashion podcast at all. It was to do with manifesting, actually. It wasn't like anything at all related to my subject directly. And the lady that was giving the podcast, I must go up and check out her research, but she was talking about the resonant frequency of fabrics and saying how we shouldn't wear poor quality fabrics. Now, I will say that to you anyway, but I didn't know that it was anything to do with the resonant frequency of the fabric or its role in the manifesting process. And it turns out, apparently, excuse me, I need to go and check this out, but apparently linen has a very high resonant frequency, and organic cotton has a very high resonant frequency, but linen is much higher. Like, I think organic cotton is like 110 hertz, but linen is about 5,000, I think she said. And then she said the only other fabric that is as high as linen is wool. And wool apparently has a very high resonant frequency in the 5,000s as well. And I think this is very interesting because, I'm all for natural fibres, as you know, and I just think that we do feel better when we're wearing them, and also that they are doing us good. So I do think that wearing natural fibres, they're actually doing us good as much as we feel good wearing them because it's a beautiful style, or we feel very comfortable in them, or whatever. So there you go. Take it from not me, someone else. I will check those facts and report back either in the newsletter or on a podcast about the resonant frequency. But if you are going to wear these earthy tones in the evening, then by all means you can dress them up. I think 2 things: one, fabric, which I've just touched on with its resonant frequency, and then the other is style. And try and make sure, I think, to wear something more fitted and less baggy, less loose, unless it's particularly fashion forward and loose, if you see what I mean. But I think if you want to wear those fabrics in the evening and look dressed up, then they'll need to be fitted and they'll need to be of good quality. So that leads us very nicely to the jewel tones, which of course are the colours that we think of in autumn and winter when we're going out in the evening. So probably you will have something in your wardrobe that is along the lines of an emerald green velvet evening dress, or a floor length pink or red silk skirt for very formal occasions that you long to get out. That's the thing. We have these lovely colours in our wardrobe and we long to get them out. And I might do a podcast episode actually in the future on that, about pairing something very dressy like a full-length silk skirt with something less dressy like a cardigan, and managing to wear it for an evening supper, for example, because I do think that there is a possibility that you can do that. We can get to wear the clothes that we wouldn't normally get to wear because we consider them too dressy. But these jewel tones for autumn, I think, are fantastic. Now, for me, I'm much more comfortable in the earthy tones. If I'm wearing a really rich jewel tone, like those deep emeralds, the sapphire blues, the ruby reds, and the amethyst purples, if I'm wearing those colours, I feel very conscious that I'm wearing them. And they make me feel quite efficient and make me feel quite dressed. But I feel like I need to go off and do a specific task. Like I can't sit and relax and read a book so well if I'm in a very bright purple or a ruby red. I sort of struggle with those colours. They make me feel like I need to pay attention and not relax. I don't know if you feel the same. I do feel that for these brighter jeweled tones, that keeping your accessories and jewelry to a minimum in terms of style and design and colour is probably the best thing. With those neutral, warm autumnal colours, I think you can push the boat out much more with the accessories that you wear because they're more of a blank canvas. Whereas when you're wearing the rich jewelled colours, it's like the canvas has already been painted. And so I think you have to be a bit cleverer with how you accessorize. So if I were accessorizing you right now, and you were wearing, for example, an emerald blazer in a rich velvet with a silk shirt underneath, and then a pair of trousers, say, I'll give you black for this because you're going out for the evening, black silk, quite wide palazzo pants and a cream silk shirt, and then this emerald green blazer over the top. I think I'd probably put you in pearls. I know that's terribly classic, but pearls would be amazing, like a long string of pearls that cascade over the button of the jacket. That would look really sort of quite powerful and quite sexy. But I think also you could probably wear say 3 gold chains round your neck of differing lengths, and that would look very modern, and I think that would look fantastic with the green velvet jacket, as would a very simple. You could even go, I think if you were wearing green and cream and black, you could wear silver quite successfully. I like the idea of the gold, but I think you could get away with silver with that combination. I think silver is a bit tricky in the autumn if you're wearing more cream colours, because it doesn't lend itself as well as the bronzy gold colours for jewellery, I think. But you probably could get away with a sort of slightly darker, maybe older silver look. So I would, for these brighter colours, if you've got clothes in your wardrobe that you'd like to bring out over autumn and into winter that are these fantastic peacocky winter colours, then get them out in advance and just go and take a look at what you've got as far as jewellery and accessories are concerned, and see what you think when you pair them up. Because I'm thinking simple, sleek, sophisticated for your brighter jewel clothes. Whereas with your other clothes in the earthy tones, I think you can get away with or not even get away with, but I think you can really enjoy wearing some much bigger jewellery. I've got a purple semi-precious stone necklace. The stones are really flat and they're quite big, and I think if I'm wearing, say, an oatmeal colour jumper, I can wear that purple necklace over the top really easily, and it lifts the outfit, but it doesn't look too much. Whereas the other way around, I think with the jewel colours, you probably want something a bit more sleek and sophisticated and a bit more, I mean, can still go quite sexy. I do think that there's a longer string of pearls, maybe pearls with a tassel or something like that, or a gold necklace with a tassel would look amazing. And of course, bracelets, like bangle bracelets with a green velvet blazer would look amazing. And then rings, like the fashion at the moment is for lots of rings and on all different fingers, and I think you can really make that a feature of an outfit that is using all these peacocky colours, definitely. So I think that there's plenty of styling opportunity for the brighter colours, and if you've got time, I would really recommend that you go and do that, because it's great fun. It's like, half an hour spent to yourself putting an outfit together is great fun, and something that not all of us get a huge amount of time to do. So if you've got a little bit of extra time, even if it's only 20 minutes, then go and see what you've got in your wardrobe and pair it up with the relevant accessories, and I think you'll be really encouraged as to what you can put together. Also, I think even with the differing colour tones, that the same applies to the jewel colours as it does for the neutral ones, which is pick one statement piece, for example, a coat or a dress, and then partner it with more subdued subordinate colours. A classic combination, again, is the rich green velvet jacket that I've just spoken about, or again a rich red dress but then toned down with, say, a caramel or putty coloured cardigan or jacket. Of course, you can go entirely the other way, which is to pair one strong colour with another strong colour. To get away with this, and it can look fantastic, you need to get the proportions right, and I think that one item therefore needs to be physically bigger, i.e. take up more physical space. For example, a long skirt in a rich leaf red, like that New England shade of leaf red, and you compare that with a cropped mustard coloured cardigan, or a yellow cardigan like that rich leaf yellow. That can look stunning, but you see the long skirt is by far the biggest proportion in terms of volume. So that kind of proportion can help those colours work really well. I think if you're going to just try and, say, wear a red jacket with mustard yellow trousers, then you are on your way to looking like a traffic light for a start, but also the proportion is going to be wrong, so you are going to look a little bit clown-like, I'm afraid. So try and avoid doing that. Get the proportions right. Think one item has to be a greater volume than the other. Finally, there is another set of colours that I haven't mentioned yet, and they're like your backup colours. So they're not really colours of themselves as part of your autumn styling wardrobe, but these are the unsung heroes or heroines in your wardrobe, and we'll call them the warm neutrals. So they are the shades like the camel, taupe and creamy white kind of colours, and they add warmth and versatility to your outfit, and they also to a certain extent ground the colour that is the main colour of your outfit. These colours are the ones that are perfect for layering, and they work well with both more vibrant fall hues as well as the more subdued autumnal colours. And so what I'm thinking of for these is that these are going to be like your tops. So they're going to be your jumpers, your shirts, your long sleeve t-shirts, and also to a certain extent they could be either a top in terms of like a jacket or a coat, or a bottom in terms of like a skirt or a pair of trousers, not necessarily in creamy white, although winter white does look amazing, but I'm thinking of the sort of more camely taupey kind of colours, because for example if you wore a camel pair of trousers, that would free you up to be able to wear quite a bright coat or quite an autumnal hue coat. So with a pair of camel trousers, you could wear a really amazing magenta coloured jacket or coat. And by the same token, you could wear those camel trousers and also look great in a really sort of moss green coloured velvet jacket. So these are they're the unsung heroes because they actually are the linchpin quite often of your outfit, and they pull it together in a really stylish way, and they stop you from looking over coloured in. So you're not intending to look like a colour by numbers painting, but you're aiming to look stylish and sophisticated and well put together. And these warm neutral colours are the links in your outfits that will help you achieve exactly that. So I just really want to have a quick chat also about fabric. And I have spoken about fabric in this podcast. We have touched on it, but I just have a couple more things that I'd like to say. And the first thing is that I've produced a fall style guide. So I've produced an autumn style guide, but I've also produced a fall trends report for this year. So an autumn trends report for this year, and I'll put links to both of those in the show notes. And in both of those I discuss styles, colours and fabrics that are trending this autumn, so you might find that interesting. But just a quick chat about the fabrics for wearing in autumn, and they're all perennials, 3 perennials. The first one is velvet. Velvet traditionally is worn 1st of October to 1st of April. So if you went to a couture house back in the 1950s, they wouldn't let you wear velvet before the 1st of October, and you should stop wearing it after the 1st of April. However, we don't all go to traditional 1950s couture houses anymore, but that's when velvet was worn. And actually the same for fur, 1st of October to the 1st of April. So velvet is such a key fabric for fall, especially in those deep, rich colours, and it adds the most amazing texture to any outfit. And if you don't have anything currently in your wardrobe that is velvet, I would really recommend that be your first port of call, because it really transforms you when you wear it. You feel so much more seasonal, and when it gets towards the party season, velvet is such a great fabric to put on because it makes you feel immediately party-like. One of the first ever garments that I made when I was doing my couture work was a velvet jacket for somebody, and she wore it for years, and she always said to me, I should get that jacket copied. She just wore it for years. Every year it came out. It had really amazing buttons on. I found these handmade sort of like bashed metal buttons, that were sort of uneven in texture. They were great on this purple velvet jacket. It was brilliant. So if you haven't got velvet in your wardrobe, I would really recommend that you go and get some. Secondly, another perennial is corduroy. Now, I love corduroy, and there's like a velvet corduroy and there's a cotton corduroy, and the velvety one is much more luxurious, but both are fantastic fabrics. And I've always really loved them, and they've been out of fashion a little bit, but they're definitely making a return. So another fabric that I would get into my wardrobe if you don't already have it is corduroy. It looks great tailored. It looks great with wools. It looks great in earthy shades. It takes the dye really well. So you get really fantastic colours. In fact, I've got some lilac corduroy that I'm going to make into trousers. Not very autumnal. I'll do those for sort of into early spring, I think. But yeah, corduroy takes colour really, really well. Corduroy jackets, of course, are not the preserve only of 1970s university professors. We can wear them as well. Corduroy jackets can look fantastic in colours like rust and olive green, and corduroy pairs really well with wool and cotton, and you can create a really good sort of country kind of vibe. But you can also dress it up as well with like a silk dress underneath and high-heeled boots. Looks fantastic. A jeans style skirt in corduroy looks brilliant, and a pinafore dress, if you're up for looking stylishly school marmy, a pinafore dress with a jumper underneath or a long sleeve t-shirt can look amazing. So if you haven't got corduroy in your family, if you haven't got corduroy in your wardrobe family, then do look out for it, because it's a great fabric to wear. And finally, the final perennial that I've got for today is actually not a colour, but it's perennial checks and check patterns. You know yourself that checks play such an important part in autumn and winter colour combinations and fabric combinations and pattern combinations. So you could just have a straightforward block check, or you could have a houndstooth or dogtooth or any of those different weaving styles, and they are just so fantastic. I have a couple of bolts of cloth left over from my sewing days, and I haven't used a couple of them yet, and they are just like, the colours are just to die for. There's such an art in that woolen weaving, and so you will know that how brilliant they are for autumn and winter. But if you've got out of the habit of having them, I think the last few years we just haven't done that kind of classic dressing in quite the same way. But they are really, really good wardrobe staples. And not only are those check, houndstooth, dogtooth, whatever you're wearing, herringbone check, not only are they really practical, but they really stand out. So even if you're wearing them in quite a neutrally colour, they will still look amazing. So I've got 2 skirt and poncho combinations. I've got one that's just in like a pink wool, quite a thick weave wool, and that's heavy pink, and I do wear that with black, but I don't tend to wear it just yet. I would tend to wear it properly in the winter. And then I've got another one that's a brown check long skirt, like a midi length skirt and poncho, and I wear that loads, and it's just such a brilliant base to put other colours on top of it. It's actually, that is one outfit where I will wear red, and I do feel completely comfortable in it. So I had a red cashmere polo neck jumper until last year, when the moths did get to it, very sadly, but it was just brilliant. And I think that the rest of the outfit, wearing it with brown and brown tights and everything, the red toned down a little bit, so I was able to wear it. But if you don't have checks and check patterns in your wardrobe, then do keep a lookout for, like, even if you start with a skirt would be amazing, but obviously coats, dresses, capes. I've got a couple of lovely capes in really heavy wools. They really lend themselves to that kind of style, those heavy wools. So yes, perennial checks and check patterns, and they're really trendy, and you can get above the knee skirts and wear them with high chunky heels, and they look amazing. So finally, I just want to say that with all these autumnal colours, don't get too boring with them. I saw a pile of mine on the bed the other day. I was in the middle of packing to go away for a few days, and the pile looked lovely. It was all colours that complemented each other, but it was a bit boring. You need those velvets, the corduroys, and the full-on in-your-face colours to lift your wardrobe and bring it some life, or pizzazz, as the magazine editor says in Funny Face. Do you know that film with Audrey Hepburn? Pizzazz, that's what you need. That's what we all need. So don't let your autumnal colours, lovely as they are, get too boring, and lift them with the jewel colours, or style them up with those warm neutrals, and will stop them being too boring. So I hope that these tips have given you a really great idea of how to embrace autumn into your wardrobe this year, and how to just enjoy being in the season that we're in. So often after summer, I think that even though autumn is lovely and we get those lovely days, there's this sort of feeling of dread, because we're heading in towards winter. But I think that with our clothes, we do have an opportunity to really celebrate whatever season of the year it is, and even what the day brings in terms of weather. And that I hope that you're able to rifle through your wardrobe and find some pieces that you haven't worn for a while, and mix them up with some jewellery. And especially if they're slightly older pieces, probably you've got slightly newer jewellery maybe, and that you can just pair up quite a traditional skirt with maybe a much more funky piece of jewellery, and really make yourself a new outfit, and give yourself just a sort of pep in your wardrobe, and this sort of temporary new styling for autumn. Actually, while I'm on the subject of just rounding things up and saying how we should embrace the seasons, I think also this is a great opportunity for you to decide what you want to do with your hair and your makeup, because of course the makeup that you might have been wearing over the summer probably won't do so well for autumn, depending on the colours that you've been wearing. But if you've been wearing quite summery makeup, you'll probably want a bit more of an autumn look and maybe a slightly darker lipstick, and maybe you want a haircut or a refresh in your style and maybe some colour putting through it and a few more sort of aubany, rusty coloured, leery colours put into your hair. So once you've finished thinking about how you can make the best of autumn, how you can maximise autumn in your wardrobe, don't neglect the personal grooming aspect of it, what you're going to do with your hair, how you're going to style it, whether you're going to run some colour through it, and giving yourself a slightly different makeup look, maybe heavier lipstick. It doesn't have to be a lot of makeup. I'm not a particular advocate for a lot of makeup, although it can look really amazing, but I myself don't wear a huge amount. But I have found actually that I'm wearing a darker lipstick. Definitely, I've really noticed that in the last few weeks, so maybe that's something to think about too. So I hope that this has been useful for you, and I hope that you find something new in your wardrobe to wear that was already there and you're able to restyle, or that you find a coat. Of course, the sales aren't too far away, they're just the other side of the Christmas holidays, so you might pick up some good quality staples then. But even before that, be on the lookout for a couple of statement pieces that can just lift your wardrobes in terms of a coat in a particular colour, or a statement item like the dress, or a skirt in an amazing velvet colour like we've discussed. And yeah, I look forward to, do let me know, like, you're always welcome to drop me a line, sarah@workingfrocks.com, or post up on Working Frocks on Facebook or Instagram and just let me know what you're doing and what you're wearing in the autumn. That'd be lovely to hear. Anyway, amazing women, that is what I have for you this week, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you're well wherever you are, and I look forward to seeing you same time, same place next week. Bye for now.